decade, the 90s, with a handful of movies from each of those years. This was going viral on Twitter the other day. And you have to pick one year to represent yourself. And we go from 1990 to 1999. The year 1990, Home Alone, Ghost, House Party, Goodfellas, Edward Scissorhands. On first reaction, CJ, are you keeping this year or moving on to the next?
I mean, it's the first one, so I'm keeping it.
We're keeping it.
I gotta
we
keep
stick
it.
with 90. It starts strong.
Yes,
it's a
that's
strong,
real good.
Strong, complete list.
That's real good.
1991, My Girl, New Jack City, Terminator 2, Point Break, and Boys in the Hood. Are you moving to 91 or sticking with 90?
I got to stick with 90. I've only seen New Jack City and Boys in the Hood. Both great. Both
Never
classics.
seen My Girl?
Never seen My Girl. Never seen any other Terminators or Point Break.
Go get yourself a good cry-in. I'll stick with 1990 as well. 1992, the year of my birth, Juice, Three Ninjas, Batman Returns, Encino Man, White Men Can't Jump.
Give me 93.
You're
Juice is
92.
so.
You're
Give me
taking
92. Excuse me. Juice is so good. I love White Men Can't Jump. And Three Ninjas? Are you kidding me? Three Ninjas with Tum Tum in them? Yeah, I love that.
Okay.
Somehow Mr. Miyagi is the grandfather, even though he is a different ethnicity as these little white children run around. Yeah, give me that.
Okay, I'm sticking with 90. 1993, though, Mrs. Doubtfire, The Sandlot, Free Willy, Menace to Society, Jurassic Park. Pick me up in 1993. I'm 1 year old and ready to roll.
93 is it.
Give it to me.
93
I mean,
is
you're
great.
in your Jurassic Park shirt.
That I am. The first movie I saw in theaters was Jurassic Park.
Beautiful.
It's great. I love it.
I
love
saw
it.
a double header of Planet of the Apes and Jurassic Park 3. Those were the times.
Miss Doubtfire is a great movie. Sandlot is, for me, personally, my favorite sports movie of all time. Free Willy
there.
was so emotional, and then I was grown by the time I saw Menace to Society. But Menace to Society hits real hard. And it's funny how some of the themes in Menace to Society, some of them, all of the themes in Menace to Society hold true today. 30 years? 30 years later, 3 decades later, and we still hadn't figured out some of the things that they were talking about in Menace to Society.
93, great year. 94, The Crow, Ace Ventura, Street Fighter, Above the Rim, Little Rascals. Little Rascals might be one of my favorite movies of the entire set, but ultimately the list doesn't move me on from 93. Are you keeping 93 or moving to 94?
93.
Keeping 93 to 95. We have a good year. Friday, Bad Boys, Mortal Kombat, Jumanji, and the Power Ranger, the movie. This is hard. I'm sticking with 93, but just know it's close.
95 has legit bangers. I owned a Jumanji VHS.
So
and
did I.
for those young people who don't know, we've got young people in the studio right now. VHS tapes, we didn't have disc and we couldn't stream everything. You had to put this thing into a VCR, which played the VHS tape, and you had to physically rewind and fast forward. So like there wasn't any like scene skipping. You wanted to skip to the next scene, couldn't do that. You couldn't skip to the next scene. You had to like sit there and watch the whole thing or rewind, and then if you missed it, you had to fast forward to the part you wanted to see or what have you. Jumanji is a great movie. I love Friday and Bad Boys. Those are two of my favorite 90s movies. And are we considering Friday a cult classic?
Yes.
All right, that's my favorite cult classic then, is Friday. Oh, gosh, it is so hard. I'm going to go 95, man.
Okay.
I'm going to go 95.
I'm
Just too many
with
bangers.
93 because the Doubtfire, Sandlot, Jurassic Park threesome, I can't move on.
That's a hell of a threesome.
I can't. So you're in 95. I'm sticking to 93. 96 was Scream, Matilda, Space Jam, Independent Day, and Set It Off. I almost want to go into 96. Scream was one of my first gateways into the horror genre. Emphasis on the horror. Space Jam, it was a moment. Is Space Jam a cult classic?
I think it's a kid's movie. I don't think it's a cult.
Yeah, a
I don't
kid's
think it's a
movie
cult classic.
is an appropriate way to put it. And Matilda was just a wonderful little film, the Roald Dahl book. I'm going to stick with 93. You're going to stick with 95, I assume?
Yeah, I'm still in there in 95.
97, Titanic, Men in Black, Selena, Good Burger, Face Off.
Maybe the worst movie year on the list.
You know how I feel about Titanic.
I'm aware.
I did take it in my best Oscar winners of all time.
Pay me like you French girls.
It's a beautiful thing. Never let go.
That's the only line I know from the movie.
There was enough room on the board for both of them.
It wasn't. The board would have sunk.
Oh
That
my
weight was
God.
too heavy.
We're not taking 97. 98 is Rush Hour, Blade, American History X, Small Soldiers, Belly.
I didn't realize Blade was 98.
I love
Wow.
Rush Hour, but I don't love this list enough to jump
Small
in.
Soldiers is great. Belly is great. But yeah, I'm sticking with 95.
And last but not least, Big Daddy, Deep Blue Sea, The Matrix, Blue Streak, and 10 Things I Hate About You. And admittedly, I have, in the last 3 weeks, rewatched Big Daddy and 10 Things I Hate About You. Did they age well? Not always, but you can still sit down and have a real great time watching those movies. I will stick with 1993, but for all my girlies who grew up on 10 Things I Hate About You, R.I.P. Heath Ledger forever, go back and watch that movie. It still hits.
Yeah, I'm staying with 95.